In this video, we're going to be taking a look at sets and Venn diagrams. So a Venn diagram is just basically a pictorial representation of sets, where sets are represented by enclosed areas in the plane. Now the universal set is represented by the points in a rectangle. So here's an example of a Venn diagram here. The universal set is out here. Now the other sets are represented by discs lying within the rectangle. So for example, if I had two sets, let's call them A and B, this could be an example of a Venn diagram with two sets, A, B, and the universal set, which is the remaining rectangle. Now, a Venn diagram is often used to visualize a more complicated example. So here, consider the following data for 120 mathematics students. 65 study French, while 45 study German, and 42 study Russian. 20 study French and German, 25 study French and Russian, and 15 study German and Russian. Then 8 study all three languages. Now all of this information seems quite complicated. There's a lot of information given here. So a Venn diagram is used to help visualize what's actually happening. I want you to pause the video now and try to figure out the Venn diagram for the above data. Now we're going to have three sets here. Let F, G, and R denote the sets of students studying French, German, and Russian respectively. Fill out the Venn diagram with F, G, and R. Fill in the data that then falls within each set within the Venn diagram. And then answer part B and C. Find the number of students studying exactly one language, and then find the number of students studying exactly two languages. So pause the video now and try to work out this problem. So for part A, fill in the Venn diagram for the above data. Your Venn diagram should have looked like this: a rectangle with three separate sets. Now I said let one set be F for French, then G for German, and then R for Russian. And fill in the Venn diagram. Now the trick with the Venn diagram here is to start off with who studies all three languages. So 8 people here study all three languages. So in the center here, we should have had a value of 8, and that represents that 8 study all three. Now, with that, you're going to use that information to fill in the rest. Now, I would start off by figuring out who studies, say, French and German. So who studies two languages now? Well, French and German is this shaded region right here that I'm shading. I want to figure out how many people study French and German, which says here 20. But of those 20, 8 study all three. So what you should actually do is take 20, subtract 8, which gives us 12. So 12 people should be right here. Now remember, this is true because in this red area right here, that should total up to 20. So 12 plus 8 gives me 20. Now to fill in, for example, French and Russian, that would be this shaded region here. Now 8 study all three. It states here that 25 students study French and Russian. So we're going to take 25 minus the 8 that study all three. And so 25 minus the 8 gives us 17. So in this section right here, we should have 17. Now again, 17 plus the 8 gives us a total of 25, where 25 study both French and Russian. And so finally, this section right here that I'm shading is the students who study both German and Russian. Now there are a total of 15 students who study German and Russian. So this entire shaded region should work out to 15. And so 15 minus the 8 that study all three gives us 7. And so 7 should go into this blank right here. Now again, 7 plus 8 gives us 15, and that's how many people study both German and Russian. Now finally, How many people study, let's start with French. Well, there's 65 in total that study French. So this means that this entire shaded region here should work out to 65. Now, we have some of that circle already filled in. So 65 minus 12 minus 8 minus 17 should work out to 28. And so there's a total of 28 in this blank section here. So again, everybody in that F circle should add to 65, which it does. Finally, let's go on to the amount of students that study German. There's 45 students that study German. So in this shaded region right here, this whole circle should add up to 45. So all we need to do is take 45, subtract 12, subtract 8, subtract 7, and we get 18. So in this blank area, we have 18. And lastly, we have the students that study Russian. There's 42 in total that study Russian, based on your question here. 42, subtract 17, subtract 8, subtract 7, works out to a total of 10. So here in this blank is 10, and again in this entire shaded circle of the Russian language should add up to 42, which it does. So that's part A, that's the Venn diagram filled in. Now part B and part C can easily be obtained just by looking at your Venn diagram. So for part B, the question is asking you to find the number of students studying exactly one language. Well, studying exactly one language would mean the 28 people that are studying only French, the 18 that are studying only German, and the 10 people that are studying only Russian. So your answer for part B is real easy. It's just 28 plus 18 plus 10, which works out to 56 students that are studying exactly one language. For part C, it's asking you to find the number of students studying exactly two languages. Now to study exactly two languages, where would that be based on the Venn diagram? Well, these students here study exactly two languages, as well as these students in here, as well as these students here. Now not the 8, because the 8 represents students who study all three languages. So it's just those three shaded regions there, and those numbers are 17, 12, and 7. So our answer here would be 17 plus 12 plus 7, which works out to be 36 students total who study exactly two languages.